Good morning, evening, afternoon. I am Tatocat. Welcome to my channel. Today we're playing Echoes, a Lucid9 fan game. I may end up just shortening that to Echoes because, you know, that's a mouthful to say every time. Previously we looked at the different difficulty settings, and then we heard somebody talk about their past and little cicada babies, and then we woke up and mentioned something about going into the light once again, and that is where I left off. Alright, let's continue. Do I even want anything? Can I even want anything? I don't know. This isn't something that can be solved by a formula or chemical cocktail. This is something that requires...
Something you're looking for?
Holy shit, there are actually voices. Well, it's happened before where it's like, is the voice option, and there are no voices in the game, so I just wasn't expecting that. Now, who are you? Glasses guy. What is your name? Turns out I wasn't alone with my thoughts, after all. Speak of the devil, I suppose, yet any interruption is welcome.
Not particularly, no.
That's her voice? It's not happening. Okay, it mentions her name. So I didn't mention Rui's name because I wasn't sure if people caught on yet that we were playing Rui. And if you haven't seen Lucid9, I guess I'll leave it like a little thing in the corner. But it is based off of that. And Rui, well, if you haven't seen it while you're watching this, Rui dies. So it's quite a shocker that she's alive and that we're kind of having her perspective.
I'm flattered, though. You keep tabs on your other students like this.
Just the ones I can tolerate.
My supervisor's trademark humor is through a warm, disarming smile, and I can only assume to be an understatement. Even if it isn't, it's reassuring that my morning walk hasn't taken him too far by surprise. So I wonder, it's throwing me off a little bit that she's just kind of floating up here. But maybe this is just like her eyesight thing. Or maybe it's a bug thing. I don't know. I'm not too bothered by it. I'm mostly looking here anyways.
It's good to see you awake and moving around this early, Rui. I take it your sleep is improving?
Or it's not and we're walking around because we can't sleep.
Why? Did one of my patients ask to speak to the manager?
Also, she grew up. Didn't say anything earlier, but like, she hit a growth spurt, that's for sure. I wonder if this is completely fully voiced or if there's going to be times where they're supposed to speak and they don't say the words.
I've gotten a few thank you notes from them for hiring you, but that's about it.
Well, we must be the best.
You already know my typical response to angry patients. An antipsychotic, a benzodiazepine, and a notice that says their feedback is important to me.
No, aren't you a pocket full of sunshine? Rui seems either indifferent or displeased. I can't
That
tell
was a
yet.
joke, Hayata. Tart of dyskinesia isn't Halloween candy.
Tardive dyskinesia? What is that?
You shouldn't be giving it to children or the mentally ill. Anyway, that's enough reminiscing for now. If you're interested, I could pull some strings and get the ward door unlocked a few minutes early.
Sure, why not?
Beats standing around and watching the floor dry.
Hey, sometimes interesting things could happen. Maybe an ant comes by. You don't know our life. I let out a dry chuckle and followed Kosuke as he makes his way down the barely illuminated hallway. Oh, robot eyes again. So I'm guessing she's a robot or like an cyborg. Given the whole is supposed to be dead thing, that makes sense. It's an instinctive response at this point. It's less that I find it funny or reassuring, but more akin to a simple, obvious truth. It's the kind that you never expect someone to say out loud, but I find myself enjoying it. A nuance, a distraction, a moment of solace. Noticing something else. Something more. Something that I never acknowledged until now. A single moment is expandable. A single frame of vision captured by the eyes in this dance of shadows and light is transient. It has to be. But more can take their place. If I wasn't careful, someone could have taken mine. Exclamation mark. Oh no, what happened? Kosuke stops abruptly, an arm's length in front of me, as the trailing edge of his lab coat falls to reach a point of absolute stillness, an inch above the ground. It's only then that I see what he sees. Pretty! From behind the untouched glass of a fourth-story bay window, the dawn's light meets my eyes head-on. I'm tempted to turn away from the warm glow emerging from the star-glazed horizon above, but I stop myself at the last minute, allowing it to spread across the exposed half of my face. I can't fully rationalize my hesitation, but the fact that something so warm and color can send a shiver down my spine feels as if I've been endowed with false promise. A promise that most likely could never be honored. A sight like this is a drastic one, far past the threshold of being open to interpretation. Interpretation, at least, by the few of us still seeking a meaning in every tiny thing. Meaning in life. Meaning in birth. Meaning and death. Meaning pulled from the soul to justify the spinning of the gears and everything else in between. Happiness is a feeling that power is achieved. To live is to suffer, and to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. I think some depressing philosopher with a mustache said that once. As yes, all the philosophers have to have mustaches. Else they're not really philosophers, are they? At the moment, I cannot quite recall his name, but I do remember getting a headache when I tried to spell it. Someone close to me once said that he saw this philosopher as an optimist, or even entertaining the absurd notion that a person can find meaning in their life. I didn't have the time or energy to argue with him then, but now I'm starting to wish that I did. Because nobody would search for the meaning if it failed to bring them happiness. Isn't that moving? Okay, there we go. And if happiness is power over the world, others, oneself, or one's emotions, would meaning and significance, even objectionable significance, would they have power? More importantly, where would this happiness be found? In life? In death? In something between the two? In some entirely different level of reality, whether separate from or adjoined to our own? E. All of the above? Were I to look at this sunrise in a different state of mind, I might consider using its humbling scale as justification to peer inward in search of an answer. However, I don't have the time right now, and if I did, I'm fairly certain I wouldn't have enough patience to look for the hay in the fucking needle stack I call a brain. So, when I look at a site like these, at sites like these, they're not something I can find comfort in. But to a lot of people, this is exactly the kind of site that they would find.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, I said it was pretty too. But I feel like if I was there, I'd be like, oh, it's too early for this. And here comes the starry-eyed mad scientist, right on cue.
I've certainly heard people describe it that way.
Oh, yeah, I see a thingy now. Was that there before? I don't think it was. Or maybe I just didn't notice it.
You should listen to those people more often. A sunrise isn't the kind of thing you can build a tolerance to, after all.
I feel like that's not true.
So you're saying it sucks at finding to receptors?
Of course not. It's something else entirely. When I was a kid, I used to wake up on the weekends, earlier than everyone else. You should have seen how my parents reacted.
Like, why is this child awake? We want to sleep in?
They never expected me to get a head start on anything. And yet, there I was, staring at the horizon on a Saturday morning, for the first time in my life.
Why does it feel like you want to take over the world or something?
We were one of those few families mad enough to live in District 7. But the sight of the sunlight pouring through those trees, words can't even describe it.
I can't remember what all the districts were.
They called to me, but I was transfixed, too perturbed to move. All I could do was watch, and they asked me what it was that I was seeing. "The sky's on fire," I said. But there wasn't any fire out there, they told me. It was just a product of my imagination.
The sun is fire.
The relief I felt. I know it's hard to believe, but the relief you feel after all the fear and pain is more important than anything else in this world. When it's finally over, all that remains is the endless light.
I don't know. I mean, Rui should know. She's the one who was shot dead, so ask her.
And I promise you, Hayata, I will do whatever I can to bring that light back into people's eyes.
Question, does Rui actually remember what happened?
Someday, you will too. After all, it's the reason you chose this life.
Did Rui choose? Kosuke spends a few seconds in silent contemplation. Yep, there we go. Before smoothing the wrinkles out of his coat and resuming his slow course towards the hospital psychiatric ward. Still at 4:28, I see. Day, not time. Oh, what is this? Why is it darker? What is happening? Oh, there we go. Now look up. I hate it when he talks over me like this. But even more than that, I hate that there's an ounce of truth to the message he's trying so hard to deliver. And yet, how long has it been that I've gone without expecting anything to last forever? Let alone something I wouldn't be tempted to take out with a clear shot to the face. Long enough, I told myself. Long enough. I have yet to tell myself today, tomorrow. It's been long enough to change, though. That change is cold and empty. It's been long enough to see the truth, though it may be excruciating to accept. It's been long enough to know that all things are temporary, though that knowledge offers no comfort beyond the broken veil it lifts. But until the undiluted find comfort in death, they must first find comfort in that knowledge. The fear the pain, the light. No matter how powerful or lasting they are, not even 10 to the 10 to the 10 to the 56th power years could change the entropic order of the universe. In the end, time washes everything away, including us. And somehow this man whose offshore accounts weigh heavier upon him than his deeds, this man who has collected on countless depths, this man with the blood of thousands on his hands, this man has contributed to the suffering of millions. Who is this guy? Did he create weapons or super soldiers or something? Is a man that I pity, even if only for the ramifications of his own grandiose cognitive distortions. If it hasn't already, a day will come when something forces him to acknowledge his own morbid existence. That day will come for many of us, and those it comes for will face that day alone. But not as alone as they might think. Not as alone as they might feel. No. Not alone. Oh, really? You're never alone. So she doesn't remember Yama. Not yet. Is she gonna find Yama? Oh, what is this room? Hallway thing. Is this the hospital? I mean, they're in the hospital, but like, is it the psychiatric ward? The sun is already up by the time I pass through the ward doors. It feels very psychiatric hospital. It's very clean. As usual, every steel railing is soaking in the odors of industrial-grade antiseptic, and smiling faces dot the halls. Doctors and nurses alike are laughing it up over a cup of burnt bean water, coffee, as they leisurely prepare to make a difference in the world, even 7 hours a day and 5 days a week. Don't even think about getting sick on the weekend, though. Who's going to keep the golf courses in business if Scapel McGee and the entire Ivy League don't stop by twice a week to play with their balls? That was clever. Scapel McGee, the Ivy League. What a fucking joke. If it didn't kill off a small part of me every time I thought about it, I'd currently be splitting a rib, laughing at the sheer condition of this profession. So many people need immediate medical attention and receive none. And it's not just because the death panels have gotten a bit too gung-ho with their claims denial process. The physicians are there, and their services are paid for, but somehow the fact that they're in high demand just gives them even more a right to sit on their hands and treat people in legitimate pain like a menial task. If they ever realize that, will they attribute it to their nice smile or to their great skill in picking out a panacea for every middle class 20-something that comes this building feeling a little weird? It would be fun to unlock the sealed elevator at the end of the hall, just to take them for a little tour. Ooh, what's over there? What's in the sealed elevator? I am very curious. How would they react upon seeing the security cameras in every bathroom stall, or the walls soundproofed for the safety of the patients to keep locked up in there? Or, God forbid, what kind of fucking ragdoll shit happens when you electrocute someone in the middle of a I don't know how to pronounce that. Cholinergic crisis? It would be a travesty. The floors would stop being shiny. But what the hell do I know? I'm only working 14-hour shifts at the age of 19 because my life's nothing but sunshine and rainbows out the ass. I guess I gulped down a few mouthfuls of the brown liquid in my coffee mug before going over the carte du jour for the morning, paying customers. So wait, how did she get this job? Does she have the qualifications? I guess if you're like enhanced like this, maybe you do have a little something going on to make it a little easier. It'll get me through most of the day, but it's sure as hell not coffee. So it's been 4 years? I mean, she was what, 15? Or 16 in the original. It's been a while. Well, I'll read this line and then we'll end the episode. Call me a fucking psychopath, but I'd rather be permanently hungover than let what's left of my body fill up with urine and carcinogens. What a way to leave off. Oh yeah, we'll see what happens next time. Our cheerful Rui Hayata has definitely become not that